Cool. I just want to do a really quick overview on how you can build a custom GPT. I'm starting on ChatGPT. Your landing page might look something like this, could be slightly different. But I'm going over to the top. You might have building a GPT or something like that here. You can go here, and I've got my GPTs, and that's because I've built some before. I'm just going to click that and create a GPT. That might be what you see on the landing page. So if we just click here really quickly, create a GPT, brings us into this arena where we can build. So this is our editing, our GPT editor. Quite simple and actually a really nice clean layout here. We're going to get a preview of what we're building on the right-hand side here. And we've got the actual building options over here, the create and the configure. I tend to usually start in configure and then move to create to further customize and further refine what I'm building. But create can be a really good starting place as well. Create is more conversational. That's why I like it later, because then I'm trying to fine tune. I'm telling it what it's doing well, what I want changed, and so on. And configure is where you are giving the instructions for what you want. You can entirely build it in create or configure, or as I do, use a combination of the two. So, very first question is going to be, why bother to build custom GPT? GPT and other AI platforms provide wonderful resources. Why do we need some custom idea? And I think the way to think about this, or one way, is imagine that you have a very, very forgetful employee and you want them to do a task. But the snag is, each time, each day, you have to remind them what that task is and how to do it. So you have to tell them every time, maybe several times a day, you have to keep telling them. And that's a bit like using an open platform without a model, where you're having to offer a prompt. And to varying extents, bits of that prompt might be remembered. There might be some increasing sophistication in terms of conversational memory and so on. But there is that need where you've got a very specific task you want them to do, a very specific style you want them to use, a very specific output you might want. You might not want to keep restating that each time. And also you might not want it so that someone else who's using it can do anything inside of that model. In a way, platforms like GPT are almost too open for certain types of tasks. You might want someone using this model that you're creating, so it's a model built on top of GPT, to work within the parameters of just that, not to be able to suddenly change how it interacts by just changing the prompt themselves. So for all these reasons, a model provides a stable, automatically repeated way of interacting, way of acting, of doing, of performing. Let's have a very, very simple example of this then. So I'm going to have create a famous London landmarks. Okay. I want it to do what? This will identify London landmarks from images that users upload. Okay, so quite an interesting little thing, but very, very simple. To save a little bit of time, I've got a bit of simple text here. I just say the instructions, what it's doing. So it's nothing more complex than this. A name for it, description of what it's going to do, very basic instructions. Ask users to upload images and then matches these with the database information, other knowledge. From the database and other knowledge, identify the landmark and provide 3 or 4 pieces of information about it, one being unlikely but true. Use the document, I've given the name of the document, as a primary source for identifying and describing landmarks. Optional multiple choice London landmark quiz. Okay, so it's very, could be refined a lot there. It's very quick. Conversational starters, these are the buttons that will appear that take users straight in. What is this landmark? So that could be a good one. unusual facts quiz. I think that would be a nice one. Let's say more information about let me be more precise. Quiz about Big Ben, which I think is the name of the bell rather than the tower. And so we could carry on. I won't do any more. But what you might notice is that these are appearing. What is this landmark? Unusual facts quiz, quiz about Big Ben. These are appearing as things that users can just click on, buttons to click on that will start a certain way of interacting. I mentioned there's a knowledge base, and let's do that now. A knowledge base is so important, like a database. I think this, and I've found this to be transformative in building not just custom GPTs, but other forms of GPT, other forms of AI platforms and models. And yeah, I think it really does make a difference. And one way of thinking about that is to imagine that you're creating a chatbot that answers questions about assessment dates, or when exams are, essay requirements, and when they're due in. Now, in building this, if you didn't have a knowledge base, you have got quite a problem. Say you do it in GPT, it might be using, like this one, web browsing capability. You see the capabilities. I'm going to click them all for simplicity here. It might be using web browsing as a source of knowledge. It might be using its own training, its own form of training as a form of knowledge. But if you're asking, if you wanted users, say students, to find out when their exam is, you do not want a generic training and current web knowledge as the basis for that. When you do that, what it comes up with is exams can be found throughout the year. Assignments are sometimes due this period, the end of a semester, and it won't give you anything precise. And even worse, it might hallucinate and fill in the gaps and create a date. So having a database is really good when we want to curate or control the answers that our AI chatbot, for example, is giving to users, people who interact with it. So when we want to control the data and the answers, a database is really, really useful. You might notice that what I had in the configure instructions there said use the database and the other knowledge, because a lot of the knowledge relevant for spotting a landmark is in the form of training and the web browsing. I wanted to use that. I've uploaded a document, sorry, I'm about to upload a document that has information about 22, here it is, 22 famous London landmarks. Okay, that's going up there now. That's great, but there's more than 22. So I wanted to use this knowledge first and foremost, and then I want to expand down. And that's kind of where you're using a hybrid model. Okay, so I think we've got most of that done. I'm going to come back over to the create. Please generate a nice profile, picture. So I just want something, otherwise I'll just get this sort of cube. So it's trying to generate a profile picture now. Should pop up here when it's done. It might ask me to accept that. Okay. Sort of clearly keen on the Tower Bridge there, but I'm going to go with that. Okay, great. Good. Thank you. I think for our purposes, pressing the upward arrow just there when I'm sending it a message. Let's just try our interaction. But before I do that, I often forget I need to actually press create. Gives me the options. Do I just want to play for myself? Do I want it public so that anyone potentially can find it in the GPT store? Doesn't mean they've got to pay for it. Anyone can find it. Or do I just want it anyone with the link? I'm going for anyone with the link. That means I can share it with whoever I want. Or I could put that link up on a website of my own if I wanted to. But it's giving me that little bit more control. And then I can, you see, I've got the link now. I can press this to copy it to the clipboard and share it. with anyone I wish to share it with. I'm going to click View GPT so we can see how others would experience this. Quiz me on London landmarks. Tell me about a famous London landmark. Can you identify this landmark? Upload an image of a London landmark. So I'd probably edit these. I'm not sure upload an image is kind of more like an instruction. So I'm going to just start with this. Can you identify this landmark? To identify the landmark, please upload an image like that. Clearly, it was obvious that I should have done that, but it's reminding me very politely that I should do that. I'm going to upload an image now from my laptop. And I've got image one, very famous image, one that clearly from the profile picture, it's quite into anyway. There we have Tower Bridge. Let's see what we've got. There's some nicely organized. I do like this. It's kind of information organized, interest organized, rather than booking details. And we could easily change that if we wanted. Unlikely but true. When Tower Bridge was first opened, it was originally powered by steam engines. I didn't know that, although I suppose it's quite obvious, which were replaced with electricity in 1976. I didn't know it's as late as that. Okay, so that's fantastic. Let's try another image so we can still do this great job. Here we go. Then very obvious landmark, slightly unusual angle, the photo. Should be quite guessable. Okay, Percy Westminster, fantastic. Then we've got beautifully organized, unlikely but true. Is that really unlikely? Okay, Palace of Westminster has a unique feature called the division bell. These bells ring throughout parliamentary estate and even in some nearby pubs. So yes, I've forgotten that, to signal that a vote is about to take place. Okay, that's lovely. Let's try a third one. And this one is interesting, I think, because it's not in that document. So the knowledge-based document that I uploaded of 22 famous landmarks, this is outside of those 22. I think it's fairly famous. Can it cope? Let's have a little look. Yeah, we got it. Okay. And down the street, secret passage, famous door. It's bomb-proof, made of bomb-proof metal and cannot be opened from the outside. Okay, fantastic. Okay. So I think that's just a little simple example as to just how straightforward it is to build a GPT. I find, as I say, a lot of the time on building GPTs is the refinement of them. Building a simple custom GPT or other chatbot or AI app can be quite quick to get a prototype down, even to get a proof of concept. But the more specific and more important in some ways your task is, the more you might need to refine it. And that refinement can be what takes a long time. Okay, so thank you very much. I hope that this very, very brief look at building a custom GPT has demonstrated how easy it is and just maybe inspired you to give it a quick go and then share that knowledge and enjoy building the things that you built. All the very best. Thank you.